So, hey guys, and welcome to Diabetic 365. And today we have a very special guest, and he is none other than Joe Cross, who is the biggest sensation in America today. And everyone is watching his movie Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. I was lucky to get an interview with him. And Joe, welcome to the show.
Hey Vijay, thanks a lot for having me. It's great to be here.
So, Joe, before getting started with your movie and all your stuff, what were you doing exactly? What was your life like before 1 year? I know you took this film probably last year, 2010, at the same Thanksgiving time. So how was your life before?
Actually, the film was shot in the late 2007.
Oh, 2007? Oh, okay. I'm sorry then.
No, that's all right. I've been healthy for 4 years, and
So how was your life before doing on this strict diet, or before your lifestyle change? How was it like? Tell us, give us a snapshot of how you were before 14 or 15 years before.
So in my 20s, I was a bit of an athlete. Played football, I rode, I ran, I lifted weights. So I was pretty healthy. And then I started out in my own startup when in my late 20s. And I focused very much on work. I gave up gave up health to focus on wealth, the Freudian slip. But I really did focus on making money. And I put all the exercise and all of a good diet to the side, and started to really eat a lot of fast food and eat a lot of takeaway, a lot of traveling, and spending a lot of hours at the desk. And a lot of stress, a lot of pressure, a lot of lack of sleep, increased alcohol, increased smoking, basically just completely opposite to how nature designed us to live. Instead of moving, I was sitting, and instead of eating real food, I was eating rubbish.
So when did you feel like, hey, this is the time I need to change? This is completely disaster what I'm doing, and if I'm going to do this for another 5 or 6 or 10 years, I'm completely going to die. When did you get that feeling?
Well, I kind of knew in I first got sick when I was 32. So I founded that company at 28. And it only took 4 or 5 years of that existence to get sick. When I was 32, I basically went on this medication for my autoimmune disease. I was taking pills night and day. And taking those pills was a reminder every morning and every night that I was sick. So in my mid-30s, I kept putting it off. Got to do something about this. And as the stomach started to grow and the face started to get wider, and the exercise, like just the walking upstairs or buying clothes or sitting in a chair, started happening. I kept saying to myself, I've got to do something about this. I've got to do something. But I was procrastinating. Sometimes I do a short burst of try to be good, and then it'd fall apart because I had my priorities all wrong. So it wasn't until I hit 40 on my 40th birthday, the day after, in fact, that I woke up and had a look in the mirror. I call it the House of Mirrors, and had a good hard look at myself and realised that, boy, oh boy, I've got here at 40 years of age, and I've done nothing about this. If I don't do something, then this could get really serious. Like, I was fat, I was sick, but now I'm nearly dead.
Mm-hmm. So you went to this program, like being on juices for 60 days and losing so much weight. So here is the first question. How much weight did you lose from the point you seriously started doing this regime or doing this reboot?
So during the 60 days of just consuming nothing but plant food in a juice form, I lost about 82 pounds. And then for the next 3 months, I ate lots of fruits and vegetables, nuts, beans, and seeds. Mm-hmm. And I lost another 20 pounds doing that for another 3 months. Mm-hmm. Now, over that whole period of time, that 100 pounds I lost, about 70 pounds was fat, about 30 pounds was muscle. So since then, I've been working very hard to rebuild muscle, keep the diet, in good check, to increase. So when I went on the reboot to begin with, I was 310 pounds, and I went down to 210. Mm-hmm. Today, I'm sitting at around 230, but I've still got less fat on me today than I did at 210.
But you have muscle now. You replace the fat and you put in muscle. So that's very good. So here is the statistics. You keep telling this. 70% of these diseases today that the overall world or America is facing is due to the lifestyle choices that we make. and especially diabetes. I mean type 2 diabetes. I want to be more specific because type 1 is like autoimmune. You can't do anything about that. But type 2 is like, it's mostly like 50 to 60% is done because of the lifestyle choices that we do today. So what is that message that you want to send out through this video to the diabetes community out there? That is something that they can really change for their whole life by reducing their weight, bringing their blood sugar in control, and bringing down the cholesterol or fat levels.
So my message would be, first of all, I'm no expert. I mean, I made a movie because I was in a terrible state. I was 310 pounds and loaded up on drugs, and I'm basically a walking heart attack. So I'm no expert. What I have done is I've taken the worst thing in my life, which is my illness, and I've made it the best thing in my life by overcoming it and getting healthy. And then the way that each and every one of you out there with diabetes, I know what you're feeling every day because I was sick. And when you're sick and you're going to take medicine, you feel bad about yourself and about your predicament. So I used that energy, of that negative energy, to switch it around to be positive, to say, I'm going to do this and I'm going to get off it because I believe I can cure myself. So my message is, number one, watch the movie because the movie will give you the inspiration and the information. But number two is that, the natural state of the human body is to be healthy. It's not natural to be sick. Only 30% of all disease is caused by the luck of the draw, genetics. So I think it's worth trying to find out if the disease you've got is a genetic one or it's self-induced. And the only way to really find out if what you've got is because of you, because of what you're doing, is to switch to a plant-based diet for an extended period of time so you can get rid of everything else. Not saying that all that other stuff's bad, but just get rid of it for a period of time so that you can give your body the exact nutrition and nourishment that it needs to get healthy, in other words, to get back to its natural state. And if after 5-6 months of doing that, you've had no success, then you're probably one of those ones that's unlucky enough to be that it's genetics. But I'll tell you what, you've got a 7 out of 10 chance that if you give this a go, you're going to be cured. So it's kind of like, when you look at the long-term effects of diabetes, limb loss, blindness, these sorts of effects, quality of life reduced, there's really, you don't need me to come along with a stick and tell you to do this. Because I'll never tell anybody to do anything. I mean, my view is that I was someone who just did it. And you can see the reaction and the consequences of just the doing. The hard part is the doing, it's not the telling. Telling people is easy. But I don't believe in telling people what to do. I just believe in doing it.
So here is the thing. We are good at, sending rockets to moon, and we are good at, bringing up nice supercomputers and all that stuff. But one thing that, the man is forgetting in his day-to-day life is to understand his biological structure, to understand his own body. So how did you break that ice? How did you get in and understand your own system? How it works, and what is it actually doing? That's the toughest part. So can you please throw us light on that?
Yeah, look, it's pretty logical to me because I started asking very basic questions, like, for example, why do we see in colour? I mean, animals see in black and white. And if you think about that, fruits and vegetables are colourful. And so, well, there's an idea. Survival. Like, the human body is built to survive. The thing that you and I are doing right now really well is staying alive. And that's what it wants to do. It's actually designed, and it's the moment that conception occurs, it's trying to stay alive. And your 2 trillion cells, they're doing their absolute best to keep you healthy, to keep you alive. You don't need to think about what the kidneys are doing, or the liver's doing, or the heart's doing, or the lungs are doing. It's all doing it. Don't need to worry about it. What you need to do is assist it and not hinder it. Now, every now and then going out, having a few beers and with your mates or having a couple of glasses of wine with the girls, fine, you know, the body can handle things like that. But constant pounding through diet, through poor decisions of health, over time, it's like a waterfall falling on a rock. Rocks are a lot stronger than water, but you constantly push at it with a waterfall, over time, it'll break the biggest of rocks.
Exactly.
So it's the same in the human body. So I looked at this in a logical point of view and said, well, what does the human body really need to survive? It needs air, it needs water, and it needs food. Well, guess what? Air I'm getting plenty of, water I was getting plenty of. Maybe the food is what I wasn't doing right. So I looked at my food supply and I looked at what it was for thousands and thousands and thousands of years did we survive on, and with pretty good effects. I mean, we are the most successful species on the planet. No one's come close to how successful we are. So then I looked at the whole ecosystem of plant food and how that affects. And look at our hands, aren't they perfectly designed for picking fruits and vegetables, foraging? So that's kind of how I just drew in the conclusion that it's pretty obvious, pretty basic, that it's about food.
So you're going across the country giving speeches, meeting people, a lot of these people, and what is the biggest hurdle for them to get started? What is the biggest complaint you keep hearing from people? Hey Joe, I can't do this because of so and so and so and so. And what is your advice to them?
There's a lot of people who feel they don't have the money, they don't have the support, they don't have the motivation and the drive. Like they want to lose weight, but they don't want to really lose weight. They don't want to go through what it is to lose weight, if that makes sense, you know? Mm-hmm. It's like, everyone wants to lose weight, right? But to actually lose it, the work you've got to do, the restriction, the effort, the choices, and it's that the hardest part, I think, is those first 3 or 4 days when you do a reboot, because it's the big change. But after you've gone through the withdrawals from the caffeine, the nicotine, the alcohol, the sugar, the fat, the salt, a lot of other preservatives, you actually experience what I call human 2.0, and you start to feel really good. You get bored because you're not eating. You've got plenty of time on your hands and you're more productive. But your sleep is better, your eyesight's better, your hearing's better, the sense of smell is better. You have this incredible euphoric experience, which, you think about all the religions, they've all got some kind of fasting in them. So there's definitely a lot to be said about enlightenment and going to the higher level.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. So, I told to some of my diabetes friends, this is how Joe started, and he went on juice fast and all this stuff. But they think that this isn't really practical for a diabetic.
No.
So
I think for diabetics, it's a case of taking the reboot down to a more eating regime, of eating a plant-based diet. Mm-hmm. And it's more about switching to fruits, vegetables, nuts, beans, and seeds, and juicing more on the vegetable side, the drinks that are less sugary. And over time, as your health improves, you'll then be able to go to the fruit juices, because anyone with type 2 diabetes, as you know, it is reversible depending on how far down the track you are. I mean, particularly if you've just been diagnosed in the last year or two, plenty of cases of those people in those situations reversing it completely through diet and exercise and their choices of their lifestyle. So I wouldn't suggest if you're a diabetic you run out. We have had some diabetics do a reboot, but they haven't gone just on the fruit juice. They've gone a lot on the vegetable juice, and they have reported great success. But I'm not a doctor, and I think what you've got to do is see your doctor or health practitioner, and you've got to talk it through with them. But certainly Dr. Joel Fuhrman, and you can see him on drfuhrman.com. Mm-hmm. He definitely has some plans for diabetics to reverse their type 2 diabetes using a plant-based diet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's very good. That's very good. So when I watched your film, your goal was not just to lose weight. There is something bigger message that you want to send to the people, And even to improve your life, I mean, there was one guy who asked, like, Joe, if you could extend your life for 5 or 10 years, what are you going to do? Then you said, I'm going to pass on this whole knowledge to my younger generation or to my kids. So I could see that there is a bigger goal in back of your mind, and that's what is driving you to do this. So what is the kind of message that you want to send to all those people that have short-term goals, or the guys like one you met in somewhere in Arkansas or something like that?
I think it comes down to, because I was sick, I mean, my goal was to get healthy. I think it's about trying to create an awareness that, health is really far more important than wealth. And in actual fact, health is wealth. And that we tend to only really miss our health when we haven't got it. And we take it for granted. And I think everyone's experienced that, where, you feel great and then all of a sudden you've got the flu and you're in bed and all you want to do is be healthy. But you didn't really think about it when you were healthy that you didn't have the flu. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's about this concept of just being present and being in the moment, that every decision that you make throughout your day, your week, your month, your year will determine the long-term effects of your health. So if you want to think about what life's going to be like in your 70s or 80s or 90s, then you're in your 30s and 40s and 50s, you can actually start crafting how your life's going to be by making decisions today. And if you are sick and you're young, and what I call young is anyone under 80, if you are young, and in fact I'd probably argue that I've met some 85-year-olds that are very young, but the reality is that if you are feeling young and you're sick, then you should, in my mind, try, if it's important to you, if your life's important to you, try and do something about it. And the best way to do something about it is to switch to a plant-based diet, because that's going to be half, 3/4, probably 80% of the battle to help you get well. Mm-hmm. By eliminating processed food and animal product just for a short period of time. When I say short, for me it was 5 months. For you it might be 3 months. For someone else it might be 12 months. Who knows? But really, when you look at the whole scheme of my life, 5 months is nothing.
Exactly.
I mean, it's nothing to go through it, to be on the other side of it now, to be super healthy, to not have to take medication, to live this life now where, I crave salads and fruits and vegetables. And, I still eat other food. I'm in New York right now, and I had a pasta last night. First pasta I've had in about 2 months, but I had a pasta. And it was a wonderful restaurant. It was one of the favourite places here, and I looked at the menu and I thought, you know what, I ran 5 miles yesterday, I'm going to have a pasta tonight. So I earned it and I enjoyed it. I didn't feel guilty or anything about it. And, it's one of those situations where I just don't have pasta every day like I used to. And now, tonight I've had my salad. I had some salad with some tuna and some avocado and tomatoes and beautiful olives, and I feel great. I don't want pasta tonight.
Mm-hmm. So you're a CEO of some big corporation and you invest in a lot of businesses. So it means that there's no chance that you can take a day, or you can't afford to be sick. So now you change your complete lifestyle, and now you're really in your good or healthiest lifestyle. So what is the change that you saw now you didn't see before?
Well, I'm certainly more alert, and I don't have the ups and downs during the day of the sugar highs and lows, or the caffeine highs and lows. My memory my memory recall is brilliant. I sleep better. Actually look forward to exercise. Have the energy that I used to have when I was in the 20s. And so I just, I feel fabulous. I don't get jet lag when I fly, because I get on a plane, I put my head down, I go to sleep. I used to have red wine and white wine and a port, all the food in the plane, and I'd be like nodding off, and then have to get off, and then all of a sudden, So, it's just a huge change and a huge difference. And, I'm very, I haven't been sick in 4 years since I started this. Haven't taken medicine, nothing.
That's really great. So your final message to the community out there, and also some things you learned the hard way in this 4 years.
Well, I think the thing is, don't berate yourself. I mean, it took me a long time to actually have the courage and the discipline and the commitment to do it. And if you're like me, you would have had maybe 10 or 20 stars trying to do this. So don't give up. And don't, as I said, berate. Don't look down upon yourself. I think that your body, you only get one body, and it's a pretty amazing organism. And it has the ability to self-heal if you give it the chance. You just got to put it in the right environment and nurture it and look after it. It's been looking after you all your life, so it's kind of like a bit of like payback, and look after it. Send in the infantry, send in the army of micronutrients, phytochemicals to go in there and repair and ward off cancer, heart disease, diabetes, Alzheimer's, etc. So I really think about it like this is a huge, huge epidemic in the United States and in Australia and other parts of the world. And it doesn't have to be this way. We are creating 70% of the disease via our lifestyle choices, and to me, that's insanity. And so I think it's not about telling people what to do, it's about leading each and every one of you that make the change and make the switch and do it. You'll be leading others, and others will follow them, and together we can get on top of this massive problem.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you so much for sharing your ideas, and thank you so much for your time, and you have a good night. Take care.